at the Visit Hampton 150 at Langley Speedway. James Savali started 7th. By lap 4, he was in first place, and he has continued to hold the lead, but there's been a change behind him for second place. Just a moment ago, Andy Seiss and L.W. Miller, they've had some great battles over the last couple of races, and here's another good one as Seiss takes second.
We saw that last week with Seiss's car, getting good forward bite off the corner. He uses it again here tonight at Langley. Good forward bite off the corner, prevails on the inside, passes Miller for third.
So
second.
Seiss is now in second, trying to close the gap on Savali, and he's pulled away from L.W. Miller, and Brandon Heyer is moving up through the field quickly up to 4th place.
And what we're seeing here is that Heyer's doing a great job. He's closing in on Miller. Miller's some 4 seconds back, which is really interesting. But Seiss is starting to close the gap on Savali, and here comes Heyer on Miller. So I don't know if something happened to Miller's car, but we're also seeing Tim Brown get into the picture here on this one. So this is pretty interesting right now. LW is losing about 3 to 4 tenths a lap, so I'm wondering if something's gone a little bit funny with his car, but Heyer and Tim Brown starting to put the pressure on him.
Now look at them reel L.W. Miller in, or is it more that L.W. Miller is sliding back? Heyer has been fast. You've had your eye on him. He was pushed to the back of the field at the start of the race, but with a 15-car field, it didn't take him very long to get up into that top 5.
No, and he's running a little higher line. It looks like to me he's driving a nice little line, a nice little arc into the corners. You see him a little higher than Miller, which in turn allows him to carry a little bit more corner speed and allows him to be a little safer on his tires. Maybe that's what LW did. He might have hurt his tires a little bit racing Andy Seiss as hard as he did, and now we're seeing Heyer really starting to put the pressure on LW. So Tim Brown no different. He's staying right in there, and Miller to the outside of LW Miller. Here comes Heyer.
Heyer's career best finish, 5th at Caraway back in 2007. Right now, if he can hold this, he's in 3rd at Langley.
This is a great racetrack for this type of racing. Now Tim Brown working the bottom of Miller. We're seeing great wide racing here, and this is what I enjoy about this racetrack. And you heard Kelly say about the driver saying, I like this racetrack because there's a lot of things a driver can do. Tim Brown's starting to show us he's not out of this thing. He's battling Miller for 4th. This is incredible. Tim Brown is passing Miller. We're putting Miller back to 5th.
It's a big story right here because L.W. Miller is your points leader, and could we again, for the 4th consecutive race, have a move at the top of the point standings? It's so close that it's not a big surprise, but the big surprise here is that Miller is going backwards a little bit, and more on the points leader with Kelly.
Well, we haven't heard anything yet from L.W. Miller talking about problems with this car. I double-checked with this crew chief, and he just kind of shook his head and shrugged his shoulders. But I can tell you that he is one of the guys who does not like this track. He said it does not suit his driving style at all. He much prefers a track where he can really hit it wide open and get some speed and horsepower. He said here he just feels like he's turning all the time. But he did say that, hey, that points battle he's involved with in the championship, it's so tight that there is no such thing as points racing. Everyone's got to go for the win at this point.
Kelly, you make a great point about hanging in there as well. Remember James Savali last week at Caraway? He was sliding backwards the whole race. He ended up finishing 7th, and he was the first to tell you 7th was good for us this week. And in a points battle, you've got to get as many spots towards the top as you can, even if you're not on your best. And that may be where Miller is tonight.
You said it on the show. 5 points, 7 points separate these guys. That's less than 1 position where these guys are racing. Now we're seeing Savali probably logging the most laps led here. He will get a bonus for that. So he's going to close that gap up that he has. Seiss now has probably taken the point lead with LW in 5th as we speak with about 85 laps to go. So a lot of racing left yet.
And there's still quite a bit of season left, although it's ticking away. This is race number 8 of 10 this year, and the question is, will there be that change at the top? Will Andy Seiss move to the top of the standings? Will he be able to move to first place in this race? You know, he has told us that winning a championship would mean the world to this New Hampshire driver and his team.
They give me an awesome car week in and week out. We had some, just issues that prevented us from winning that championship. They're probably the best thing for me on taking the pressure off. They don't make it seem like we haven't won a championship since I've been driving, but we also have had the most wins since, Junior left the team. So we've had good seasons, and, they're real good to me and taking the pressure off my shoulders, but I'd sure like to win them another one.
Well, it's a good combination right now. A 23-year-old who has shown an ability to drive at this level, matched up with some pretty good equipment. That's where Andy Seiss is right now as he races in second place. Meanwhile, L.W. Miller back in fifth, trying to hold on to the top five right now.
And I got to say what Kelly said is very interesting to me, especially when the driver says, I don't like this track. And, you know, I'm always turning. Well, fans, this type of racetrack makes the best of a driver because you have to have your car handling. That's the key to this racetrack. Looks like we're going to have a caution. A 15 car spins out on the back straightaway. Looks like he's got it back under power, though.
The 15 car is Darrell Krentz from Huntersville, North Carolina, executive director of the INEX sanctioning body. His second race on this tour this year, finished 23rd at South Boston. He was as high as 9th place before an accident. A little spin here that brings out a caution, and that, more importantly, brings the field together for a restart. Back to Langley Speedway. The Visit Hampton 150 has belonged to James Savali so far. We'll see if he continues to dominate next.